Good morning. Last lesson, we learned for the center line calculation and site preparation and for the site clearing. Today, we are moving for the excavation trenches. So, last lesson, we learned for the center line calculations for external center line 225 millimeter for the 46.275 millimeter. The external wall 225 millimeter, internal wall 225 millimeter, 17.025 meter, 17.025 meter or 17,025 millimeter, and the internal wall 112.5 millimeter, 11.625 millimeter or 11,625 millimeter. This is the foundation detail for the 225 millimeter and 112.5 millimeter. There's a 225 millimeter foundation, 600 for the width for the base concrete, and 150 millimeter for the concrete, and 900 for the millimeter for the rental double work. 112.5 millimeter with 450 millimeter and 150 millimeter the base concrete, and 750 millimeter for the rental double work the height. Today, we are moving for the excavation for the first one. Here, the excavation, we know the power. External center line for the 46.25 and the taking of sheet, the first length, width and depth, and 225 millimeter for the width for 600 millimeter, and the ground level, this is the 600 plus 150, 750 millimeter, and minus for the 150 millimeter for the topsoil removing. Okay, 750 millimeter minus 150 millimeter, so 600 millimeter for the depth. So 46.275 meter and 0.600 width and 0.66 for the depth for the excavation for. This is, I will back again for the filling area. Second one for the internal wall for the center line 17.025, deduction for the T junction for the T junction of the 225 millimeter T junction. We can check for the T junction. Yeah, how many T junction here? Yeah, 225 millimeter, one T junction, second T junction, three T junction, four T junction, five T junction, here 6 T junction. So 60 junction, so 6 into the T junction, 6 into half into, that's a big 600 millimeter. So 1800 millimeter deduction, so 15,225 millimeter. So 15,220 millimeter into 0.6 millimeter and 0.6 millimeter. This 0.6 millimeter for the width and 0.6 millimeter for the depth. And next one for the 112.5 millimeter for the center line 11,625, deduction for the 60 T junction for the 225 millimeter and 2 T junction for the deduction for the 112.1. There's the 200 here 1, here 2, here 3, here 4, here 5, and here 6. 225 millimeter of the width of the 225 millimeter and 112.5 where is the T junction here the D for the 1 and here the D for 1 and A1 the joint 1 second one. So 2 T junction for the 112.5 millimeter and 2 T junction 60 junction for the 200. So 6 into half into 600 and 2 into half into 450 millimeter. Here, the drawing for T junction with 450 millimeter width, here 225 millimeter for the 600 millimeter. So, deduction 6 into half into 600 and 2 into half into 400. So, 9,375 width here 450 millimeter and the height here you can check it for the total one here 900,050. So here the base concrete for the same as for the floor concrete. So here the depth 150, 300, 450 and 375, 825 plus 75, 900. Deduction, this is a ground level deduction for the 300. So here deduction for the 300. So 900 minus deduction 300, 600 and 150 millimeter for the topsoil removing. So 600 minus 150 millimeter. So 450 millimeter for the depth. So here 9,009.375 into 0.450 and 0.450 for the excavation. Next one for the concrete area. The concrete area, the 150 millimeter. So the SLS 573 mentioned 150 millimeter or above for the meter cube and 150 less than 150 meter square. So if you have the 149, that's a meter square. If you are 150 or 100 and above, that's a meter cube for the SLS 573 measurement standard. The here 150 millimeter concrete, that's the volume for the external 46.275 into 0.60 and depth 150 millimeter, so 0.15 millimeter. Same as for the internal walls, so same as for the 115,205, 600 and 0.15 and 112.5 say for the millimeter, same for the excavation area, same as for the excavation area of the concrete also, base concrete also. That's 150 millimeter for the random double work, and there's the next one for the random double work. We will move the next session for the random double work.